Welcome to Views from the Hill, the weekly podcast where we interview students, staff, administration, and alumni. Welcome to episode 4. I'm Seth Mincer, joined by Drew Ditto and Jack Goheen. How you guys doing?
Feeling pretty good this morning.
Doing great.
We want to congratulate Jack Goheen on his commitment to Bucknell.
Woohoo! Yes, sir.
Thank you, Seth. It's been a long road.
So, that being said, we want to welcome our guest, Miss Laurie O Brien. How are you?
I'm great. It's Friday. It's a sunny day.
It is.
Perfect morning.
Did you have a morning routine this morning that you followed?
I did. I go to Cody's workout Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 6 a.m. Up long before you guys were, I'm sure. And got my workout in and showered and watched a little Today Show and came for office hours.
Is your workout more cardio or weightlifting?
It's more weightlifting. We do it with stations, so he likes, he likes the big lifts, but he gets the little cardio in there too.
Yeah. Is it mostly like a lot of teachers in there?
No, actually, Mrs. Ford and I think, are the only teachers now. Mrs. Wheeler, who retired last year, still comes, but really more parents.
Yeah.
Do you have to drink coffee or some beverage before?
I'm not a coffee drinker. I think it's cool to drink coffee. I just don't like the taste. No, I don't. I usually don't have. I'll take water, but I don't have anything before.
Do you usually need a cold glass of water to wake up in the morning, or?
No, just brush my teeth, feed my cats, head out the door.
Yeah.
How many cats do you have?
2. I'm not a crazy cat lady. Just 2.
What are their names?
They are Stanley, after Stanley from The Office, and Fergie, after old Cub pitcher named Ferguson Jenkins, who won the Cy Young Award back in the late 60s.
So, where did you go to college?
I went to IU, Bloomington, so I'm a proud Hoosier IU fan, always hopeful for basketball and football, sometimes disappointed.
Sometimes, just sometimes.
Football season isn't off to a great start, but it's all right.
So, while at IU, did you know that you wanted to be a teacher?
I think I kind of did. My senior year of high school, a teacher of mine, actually he's Cecina's football coach now, said, I think you would be a good high school teacher. And I was kind of like, And I always really liked English, was always a voracious reader and all that kind of stuff. And so I combined the two together. So yeah, pretty early I wanted to teach and coach. So yeah, by freshman year at IU, I was, pretty much on track.
Did you want to rush a sorority while you were there?
No, and you guys know me, so that probably doesn't surprise you. But what I hated about the whole process, at least for the women on campus, just seemed so superficial. Like I remember girls on my dorm floor crying, and I remember them like in these huge groups, like being herded from house to house. And I didn't like the process. I mean, I know it's a good thing a lot of ways, but yeah, it wasn't for me.
Seems pretty stressful.
Yeah.
My sister had to go through it too. She did not enjoy it.
It's way different than the fraternity system.
Yeah. There's guys are smarter about that, a little more laid back,
So after college, where did you start teaching at?
Funny story. I did a student teaching in England. And so, a lot of students go abroad and all that. But in 1984, no cell phones, no internet, it was like me and my Let's Go book or whatever. And so, I don't know. I think I was a little overconfident. I didn't come back until mid-July, and I still didn't have a job. So I ended up actually interviewing Cathedral, ironically, and did not get the job. But I ended up in Dearborn County, where Cody's from, actually. And I taught middle school English at a school called Manchester, and it's in the South Dearborn school community. Like you've heard of South Dearborn High School, maybe. Yeah. I don't know. It feeds into that. So, and I actually stayed there for 3 years, which small town life.
What classes have you taught throughout your teaching career?
Gosh, practically everything. I've taught freshmen through seniors. I have to admit, juniors are kind of my favorite. And so, I don't know if you guys know, I was at Chittard before I came to Cathedral, but it was American Lit. Juniors did American Lit at Chittard, and I really liked that. Came here, and juniors were Brit Lit. which at first I didn't like, but then I grew to really like, Beowulf and Canterbury Tales and all that. And then that evolved into the AP Language and Composition, which I do now. But I've taught speech, I've taught debate, I've taught comp. So practically everything in the English department I've taught at some point or another.
Yeah. Do you like speech more than English?
I don't know about more, because I still like the reading and but speech is fun. I'm really glad that I kind of took that on. This has probably been about 4 years ago or so. Mrs. Browning and Mrs. Keys were the department chairs, and they asked if I would do the training. And also, you have to have certain credentials. Not anyone can do it. I mean, in terms of like, you have to have a master's degree and you have to have X number of hours in either English or speech and that sort of thing. So not everybody could do it. And then I had to go to IU for a week of training, which I did not mind at all, because I got to live in the Union and be in Bloomington for a week. So that was actually pretty fun. So. But yeah, it's a cool class, I think, and I have fun with the seniors.
Yeah,
and it's kind of nice too, because the seniors know it's a college credit, so even if they're kind of starting to get senioritis, like second semester, they know they need to do a good job in it because it will follow them.
Probably bring some good energy too.
Definitely.
Get on stage.
Yeah, definitely.
So, you're an East Sider, so you went to Holy Spirit and Cecina.
Yep.
And then you taught at Chittard.
Yeah.
So when did you end up finally getting to Cathedral?
2000, I saw the light. 2000, I saw the light. It was the year 2000. So my first was the fall of 2000. So that was kind of a funny story. I had been the varsity basketball coach at Chittard, and they actually asked me to step down, and you would think like, oh my gosh, what did you do? But I just didn't win enough, I guess. And, but ironically, Mrs. Bamrick, who I knew, just through the years of coaching, she was with her whole staff, and they called me. They were all together somewhere and called me and said, hey, we have an English opening in our JV basketball. We need a coach for that. Are you interested? And I said, yeah, I'm interested. So went through the interview process and all that, and so came on board in 2000.
So I know being probably my dad's age, which, I mean, that's still young. That's still young.
A little older. It is young.
So how was the transition into Zoom and COVID?
Yeah. I don't know what age has to do with it, but I'm rolling my eyes.
You've been a teacher for a while.
You're totally right. I'm teasing totally. I'll tell you what, that spring, what year were you guys in the spring of? Were you sophomores?
Sophomores.
That's when okay.
Yeah.
That was just the weirdest thing, as I think we would all agree, and we had a teachers meeting, we get called in, it's like we're shutting down, that. But we kind of thought it was going to be an extended spring break, a couple weeks or something like that.
The school went crazy. Everyone was sprinting outside.
Yeah. It was just weird. But at that point, we had never done, or I had never done, most of us, any sort of Zoom did not exist, or if it did, we didn't know about it. Google Meets is what I use, and I had never used it, and I felt awkward. And it was just, so the good thing was my classes had really been planned out at that point. We were doing research paper and stuff like that. So I said, we're just going to kind of stick to the schedule. But no, I was not at all creative or great or anything in that spring. Now, once, we kind of got that under our belt, and then I taught, which is kind of funny, summer school PE all online. So Mr. Panzer and Mrs. Bamrick and I did that all online. And but I felt more comfortable about the online stuff after that. I still think PE online's kind of dumb, but but we did the best we could with it, and so I felt much more comfortable last year when we had the Mission Mondays and when we had to go home, what was it, like mid-November to mid-January. I felt like I did a lot better job than I did that first round.
So with Zoom, I mean, this is probably an obvious answer. You obviously like teaching in person more.
For sure. I mean, I have no desire to teach online classes. I have to admit, it was kind of nice Sunday night knowing you didn't have to necessarily get up and get in the shower and all that, and knowing you could be kind of leisurely. My alpha period, they probably were like, she's looking rough this morning, because I really rarely did I get in the shower before Alpha. I'd have on a Cathedral sweatshirt, have my cup of tea or whatever. So, that part, the leisurely part of it, I guess, was kind of nice. But yeah, I absolutely would rather be here in person.
So while you were Zooming, in speech class, you mentioned that you did Uber and Lyft and all that.
Yeah, that's kind of some part-time gigs. I started doing little Uber and Lyft, probably like 3 years ago, and just kind of for extra money, summertime, that sort of thing. And I during the pandemic, I really didn't do Uber and Lyft, but I did some DoorDash, really just to get out of the house, and the money was really good. I mean, I averaged like, $30 an hour or something.
Yeah, I remember you writing something on the board. And I was like, wow.
Yeah. I mean, it really was pretty lucrative. So yeah, I still do the Uber some, usually if they have some good bonuses or there's something going on. GenCon is actually a really fun event to drive for. Like, those people are having a great time. They love Indy. They tip well. When the NCAA tournament was all here, so events like that. And I don't usually drive at night. I don't want to take the Broad Ripple crowd home. But it's fun driving to sporting events.
Yeah, do you have any funny stories of that you can share on camera?
I don't know how funny they are. Yeah, I'm not going to share any of those right now that I can think of off the top of my head.
How about gambling in your free time? Let me get into that.
I do. It's fun. I think it's fun to gamble.
What did you start with?
I started with Las Vegas. That's what I started with. No, I enjoy going to the casino, and I like craps. I like roulette. I'll play the slots, but the sports apps are kind of fun. I mean, I hope people, avoid getting too heavily into it. I'm kind of like a $5, $10, sort of thing.
Yeah, just make it a little more fun.
Yeah, exactly. But, and it's fun when they do kind of the no-brainers, and you can make $50. But it does make me pay. I mean, I love sports, but it makes me pay way more attention to games, and hate betting on baseball. So I really didn't bet all summer, but football's fun.
Yeah. Do you usually stay away from the poker and blackjack tables?
Yeah, not big on poker. Blackjack,
Never try to beat the house.
To make $20, you have to bet $20. So I'm too cheap. I'm too frugal for that, I guess.
So with sports, are you a hometown team, like Colts, Pacers?
Yeah, pretty much. Chicago Cubs, but obviously we don't have a MLB team, and so I've been a Cubs fan since I was a little kid. You guys who've been in my classroom, you maybe have seen the letter I wrote to the Cubs when I was about 7 years old. So, yeah, for sure. IU from the college front. Butler. I did take one class at Butler. I'll cheer for them. But, yeah, for sure, Colts and Pacers, yeah.
I can't think of anyone who can just say, I hate Butler.
It's a good, yeah. How can you not love Butler?
I mean, they made the 2 Final Four runs, and they're just
in our hometown.
Yeah, they're Indy's team. I mean, you can't really hate them.
No.
Right down the street.
Yeah, and it was such a great story too. I mean, I don't know if they'll ever go back to those days, but the Cinderella teams, that was fun for sure.
Did you ever bet on any of those games?
No, the betting apps didn't exist, so I just would fill out my March Madness brackets. But I like doing that. That's fun too. I said, actually, a little off topic, but the new Innovation Center has that room with the wall of TVs.
Oh, yeah.
We were getting the tour before classes started, at the end of the summer, and we go in that room, and I just said, I'm going to reserve this room for my classes the first week of the NCAA tournament. So
I think that was on everyone's mind watching that.
I don't know if I'll get away with it, but that's my plan anyhow.
I can't see any other reason they'd put that many TVs in the lunchroom.
It looked like they just finished it yesterday too. Got me a little excited for March.
I have not been in there in a week or two, so yeah.
So while teaching at Cathedral, is there something that is your favorite part about teaching at Cathedral?
It's absolutely the students. I mean, I've made some really good friends faculty wise, and it's a great school and all that, but just it's fun. Just last night I was texting with a former student. He's getting ready to move to Illinois, and we're going to meet for dinner next week. And I love that kind of stuff. And just, keeping in touch or running into students. So yeah, you guys are the ones that make it fun. It's not the grading of the papers or the going to faculty meetings for sure. So
what do you think it is at Cathedral that like makes the community so like well put together?
I think, and I really think the Catholic schools in general do that. I'm still really close to my high school friends, and I think people that didn't grow up here, especially didn't go, I think if you went to a small town school, I think it would probably be the same thing. But like last weekend, 7 of us, high school buddies, went down to Brown County and Bloomington and, celebrating somebody's birthday. And I think the same thing happens here too. So I don't know, part of it's the Catholic community. You guys maybe, heard, it's kind of like the mafia, if you I know your family for sure, but because you guys are from here, but you run into somebody who says, oh yeah, I graduated from Cathedral, or oh, do you know so and so, my cousin, my whatever, and it takes about 30 seconds, and you're having this conversation. All these same people, so I think that happens too, and I think teachers really do a good job of just building relationships. I would have to think you guys don't have very many teachers who don't know what sports you're involved in or what extracurriculars or, things like that.
The smaller community definitely helps, because at public schools, you just definitely don't get that same connection. Like you said, teachers know what sporting events you're involved in, and it's just a smaller community that everyone knows each other in.
Yeah. Yeah, size for sure helps. I like it too, though. Cathedral's not too small. I feel like it's a nice size where people can find their niche, and we have a lot going on. Obviously sports, but also theater and band, and kids can kind of find. So I kind of like that we're not little, like 400, but I think we're like you said, I think we're a perfect size.
Will our admissions go up at all with the new building?
It'll be interesting to see. I think there have been factors, whether it's COVID, whether it's just the demographics, on the north side of Indianapolis or whatever. But I think that would be a cool drawing card. I've heard people talk about, they're kind of into all the STEM and the robotics and all that. So it's a pretty cool space for sure.
Yeah.
I think some classes have moved in there. I think maybe.
So I walked by and there was a class in there.
Yeah. So is that like the STEM?
I don't think the science classes haven't moved there yet. Like there was like an intro to business class in there.
I think it's engineering
and I think a couple labs are very geared towards obviously doing the science lab. So yeah. But right now I think you can even sign up like to use certain spaces. Like if I wanted to take my class over to that area, that big area with this, if I wanted to do something over there, I could just sign up and take a class over there.
Yeah. Yep. So thank you, Miss O'Brien, for joining the podcast today.
My pleasure.
You can follow us on Instagram at VFTH Podcast and subscribe to our YouTube at Go Cathedral High School. I'm Seth Mincer, Drew Ditto, Jack Goheen. We'll see you next week.